After starting each of Man City's opening three Premier League games of the new season, John Stones was called up to the England squad ahead of World Cup qualifiers against Andorra and Serbia, but he was forced to withdraw from the squad last week due to injury. Thomas Tuchel said that Stones arrived at England's training camp with a minor muscle injury and that he did not want to take any risks with the defender, so he withdrew from the squad as a precautionary measure and he'll be assessed further at Man City. Now, as we all know, Stones has had his fair share of injury and fitness issues for some time and for a number of years now, and this muscle injury is his latest setback. So it doesn't seem to be a serious one, but understandably, City fans will be a little bit concerned over his fitness at the moment. Stephen, do you think that Man City fans almost have to accept now that as talented as Stones is, he's maybe someone that's not that Pep Guardiola can't really rely on totally because of these fitness issues. They almost seem guaranteed now, don't they? And what do you think of Stones as a defensive option for club and country?
I think City fans accepted that a long time ago, to be honest. John Stones has been made of glass since he joined Manchester City. And obviously, the older he gets, the more likely he is to be injured. And honestly, if you'd ask most City fans what the result of him being called up for England would have been, so many would have guessed some form of injury, either during a game or during training or something like that. And hopefully, this is the lowest bar in that in terms of like it's not an actual setback, it's precautionary. But I expected this. I absolutely did. John Stones is a phenomenal footballer. He truly is. I mean, that's the annoying thing about him is when you do see him play, you're reminded just how good he is and what we've been robbed. Because I honestly think if John Stones had the fortune to be fit all the time, we're talking about one of the all-time great Premier League centre backs, and I don't think I'm exaggerating there, given his performances, especially in the treble season when you saw the level he reached that year. It was absurd, and I can't even begin to imagine he'd be good if he carried on building from that Champions League final performance, which was an insane accomplishment individually. But the thing is, you just can't lean on him. You can't because his body isn't capable of playing regular football, and I think I sound quite definitive for that conclusion. But it's based on all of his history, and I feel reasonably confident in saying I don't think anything's going to change. Sadly, I'm hoping with this, it's just him getting the memo, which would be if you feel anything, you come home, you do not play. Whereas maybe previously, he's been a little bit more positive potentially. I'm just guessing here, but maybe he thought I'll be all right. I'll crack on and keep playing, and maybe the injuries are picked up. Maybe the pennies dropped. Maybe there's a case of the slightest twinge, you stop because maybe that's the only way to manage John Stones. I don't know why they wouldn't be doing that beforehand. So maybe even then, I'm just guessing wrongly because that might have been the case. It could be that this is a genuine pull or a setback or whatever. But it's frustrating from a City fan's perspective, but. The older I've got, I think that become more relaxed about the idea of international duty. I used to be very much stuck in the weeds of tribalism, like but what about City and all that kind of stuff? We pay their wages, and I realised, well, these are footballers and they've got one career and they're sort of living their dream, and we have to respect that. And John Stones clearly wants to go to the World Cup. I have to respect that because England are a good footballing nation. They're no one's favourites to win the World Cup, but they've got a chance. They've got a chance to go far and. I can't even imagine how painful it'd be for John Stones if he retired from international football to keep himself fit for City, and then England went and won the World Cup, the year after, and he wasn't involved in it because it's a life-changing experience. So, as much as it's frustrating seeing these injuries in international duty, I think it comes with the territory. If you have great footballers, they play for their country and they want to, and that's something I think has to be respected, which I've come to appreciate, as I said, as I've got older and understand they have their own motivations and so on. Um, Going full circle back to the start, like I do hope this is just a mild injury, nothing serious. One where he's learned his body and he knows when to stop, and fingers crossed, he won't miss any games for City.
Yeah, hopefully not. And in terms of his England future, he's Stones is 31 now. Tuchel said that Stones has done everything he can to be fit, but he still struggles with these minor issues from time to time, which is costing him game time. And Stones will only remain an important part of his plans ahead of next summer's World Cup if he stays fit.
Yeah.
So I know this is sort of a hard question to answer, but how much football do you think Stones realistically can get at Man City this season? I mean, when every defensive option for City is available, you've got Ruben Diaz, Josko Gvardiol, Nathan Ake, and Abdelkader Kuzanov as well as Stones. And all those fit and available for Pep Guardiola. Where do you think Stones actually ranks among those? Is he one of the first names on the team sheet from a defensive perspective?
Pep loves him. I think it's very obvious. I mean, you only got to look at the start of the season with Guardiola playing him, and those injuries to Vardiel and so on, and Diaz recovering form. Kusanov's still very young. Ake injuries too. But I think it's very obvious that if John Stones could stay fit, he'd be playing every single week. I think he's that level of quality where yeah, there's nothing he can't do. The team looks more composed. Usually within the defense, he understands entirely he understands the job. What you got to do as a centre back in a possession based team like Guardiola, the experience, the quality. Yeah, he plays every single week if he's fit. Because I mean, if he's playing every week as well, I presume he's getting better because his fitness, means he can improve and tweak his game. That's the thing about Stones. He never really gets a run of form, a run of games. But even then, he still looks really good when he plays. So it only goes to you can only presume that with repetition he'd be even better. So yeah, I think he needs more football than last season. He missed too many games. He had large spells of timeout. I think Tuchel would be tempted to take him if he's playing, if he can get around 30 games this season for Manchester City. And that doesn't mean all starts, but if he can start half the games and play in 10, 15 more, I think he'll be tempted by the experience of Stones, especially if it coincides with a spell of fitness towards the end of the season. I think if Stones is playing 10 out of the last 15 games, and he makes himself available, and presume City are, I guess, involved in some decent games, some big games. I don't see why he wouldn't take him, and I think it'd be the right call. Stones is, a phenomenal defender who suits that kind of football as well. Tournament football, I would argue, where you need that the composure and that know-how. So, yeah, I think that's what he's going to need. He's going to need to play way more than last season. Do you think it's possible? I don't know. I know he's sad because you said he's 31 years old now. In the modern era, that's just like the peak age for a lot of centre backs these days. You look at him because it's unless you're intensely physical based, which he isn't. A lot of these players around 30, 31 now, they're at the peak and they're at they've matured as a person, professionally, physically, and they look at Thiago Silva. He's a great comparison of what maybe injuries have robbed John Stones of, because he's equally as talented in my opinion as Thiago Silva, but Thiago Silva just does not have that, that same body made of glass. And I think Stones is 31, but he's going on 35. It feels like, because of his injuries, and not everyone's age is of the same, same stance because injuries and so on. So look, yeah, I think it's very possible that he can be involved. I think the plan is to be involved, but he's going to have to play some England games as well. Like if he doesn't play any from now till the World Cup, even if he's fit for City, if he keeps missing these games, he won't pick him, and that's only fair.